We're going to talk rugby now. The Southland Stags, they put a lid on their on-field pre-season with a match-up against Northland, going down 24-12 in Auckland during the week. Let's bring in Southland Stags coach Dave Hewett. Mate, before we talk about that result, I guess the real blow was struck losing Taylor Adams early in that game as well. Got a bit of an issue at number 10 now, just a week out.
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, we have actually. We lost Greg Dyer probably 48 hours prior to the game, and then Taylor Adams took the field, kicked off, and about 30 seconds later made the tackle, and then limped off with an ankle injury himself, which is probably going to be 4 to 6 weeks. So it was a bit of a tough start, to be fair.
Yeah, no, not easy. So I know, you'll be working through the options that you've got. What are you looking in squad or out of squad?
Well, probably because we're now too deep. It's probably out of squad, and we're looking at a couple of options. We did have a position sort of free, if you like, that was a back position that we wanted to fill. So the person we bring in will hopefully be able to cover 10 for us, and also once the 10's return, both Greg and Taylor, then there are other positions that he can play if we get the guy we want. So, which means we've got a full contingent in our back stable once the boys are back from injury.
Yeah, you never want to labour the point here and not to layer on, mate, because I know you won't be feeling great about it anyway, but there was two good news stories there, weren't there? You know, Taylor Adams returning back to Southland after obviously a few years across the ditch, and a good local lad, and Greg Dyer obviously coming through the ranks as well too, so I guess that probably makes it a bit of a double-edged sword, eh?
Yeah, I mean, it is disappointing, but it's the nature of the game, and it's just unfortunate. Yep. Both accidents, I guess you could call them. Just there's nothing you can do about it. You can get a bit grumpy about it, I guess, but it doesn't help anyone. And I suppose the real silver lining was that we knew, because Greg was out, we knew that James Wilson was going to have to step up and play 10 potentially for the last 20 minutes of the game. He just did it for 78 minutes rather than for 25 minutes. So and played well. I mean, it was hard on him, and it made a big reshuffle of our backline, but he stepped up, and with time in the saddle at 10 and learning what's going on properly from that position rather than another position, then he'll be all the better for that performance.
Yeah, so is he an option from a cover point of view as well there? There aren't too many jerseys that he probably wouldn't be able to put on that backline these days.
Yeah, he's definitely an option, and that was part of our decision-making process when we got him back, was pretty much he can cover any position on the back line bar halfback, and he is tall, but he could probably play halfback if we're at a push as well. So that was part of our planning, but I didn't expect to be testing it quite so early on.
Yeah, of course.
But that's just the way it crumbles, and that'll be fine. The boys were really good about it, and they rallied around and tried to fix the holes that we needed to fix, and I was pretty happy with the performance in general. There was a few things we've got to work on, as it always is, but James stepping into 10 is something that I was pretty happy with.
Yes, so look, I'm parking that up now. I mean, looking at that overall performance, we talked this time last week, and there were forward steps made in that game against the Targo. Did you get more of them this week?
Yeah, we did, particularly in the first half. I was really impressed with how the boys came out of the sheds and took to their work in the first half. There was we travelled up from Queenstown, and that was a long haul, as you'd imagine, but they actually took to their work really well. There's a couple of, I'll call them individual errors, which cost us, but not system-based errors. And those individual errors, missed tackles, just by not executing your role properly is they're easier to fix than if there's a hole in your system. So we were pretty happy with all that sort of carry on. The set piece went well. It was a bit windy. There was a definite assistance with the wind for the whole game. The turning point was half time. I made changes to the forwards particularly. Didn't have many backs to choose from after Taylor had gone down. So we had a bit of probably a slow start to the second half because of the changes that were made. And because of that, Northland got the traditional sort of offload game going. But once those boys sort of realised that they needed to up the ante, the second part of the second half actually went reasonably well. So always things to work on, ball presentation, things like making sure that our first up tackles are done well, our kicking to space, etc. But all in all, happy with the performance, and it's given me some good thought around selection going into the first real game this Sunday.
Yeah, now, and of course, I think the other thing about, it's across all three games, really. I mean, you finished all those games well. So from a character point of view, I'm guessing that those are good signs. There's nothing wrong with actually finishing, performances off, as you have done on all three occasions in the preseason.
Yeah, that's right, and I think that's a really good. You focus on some positives, and that's definitely one of them. Where they were pre-season games, and I'll fully admit that. But to show the character to actually keep going, because they're pretty easy to say, oh, just only pre-season, give up. And the boys didn't do that, and I was really happy with that. And like I said, it's not the desire's there; it was just a little bit of accuracy that let us down. So we can, if the guys are keen and willing, then we can certainly coach them in the direction they need to go.
It's been part, of course, of a wider camp. You talk about being up in Queenstown, basing yourself up there, being able to do that hit and run mission up to Auckland and back for the game. Tell us a little bit about what else has gone on this week and how it's come together for you.
So we've actually had a camp. We went up Monday and spent some time in a sort of in the Christian camp up there actually, and it was. That
might have been an eye opener for a few of the boys, was it?
It could well have been actually. Some of the writings on the wall around who to thank and that sort of thing were great to see. But it was actually really good to get the boys just in one place all together. They know each other, but it was just about getting connections across new guys. So Isaac Tatamaki had come in. We had some Tony Lambourne, all these guys great guys in their own right, and great people, but just learning a bit more about them, and the boys learning a bit more about each other and how they work and tick and that sort of thing. So that was all really good. It was, I guess, it was a bit tough from the point of view that we had a really short turnaround because we went on Monday, played Thursday. And it was pretty cold, to be fair, on Tuesday morning when we trained in the lee of the Remarkables. It was pretty cold at the Wakatipu school. But it was really good to just that team building and getting a bit more clarity. And ideally, we could have played in Queenstown. It would have been a lot better. But just how the pre-season games fell with the late organisation, this is what we had. And Northland was a great opportunity that we couldn't pass up. And flying out of Queenstown made sense.
And so now Hawke's Bay, as you say, a week away. So we get down to business there. I mean, what are your sort of thoughts on the opponent there? Do you get much of a chance to sort of scout them, or what do you take out of their pre-season? Because they've been busy, I think, haven't they?
Yeah, they have been busy. We haven't seen a lot just yet. Their footage goes up onto a national database, if you like, and we get a chance to have a look at it, just like they get a chance to have a look at ours. So they play today. And we are looking to try and get that footage. So we'll have then 2 games of pre-season games to look at, and they'll have the same with us. So you don't get a lot on your first game. Probably your first 2 games you get a limited amount of history because they are pre-season and people don't try everything in the pre-season. So it is slightly harder. We know that they have had a couple of injuries. We know that they've still got some real experience in the forwards and some exciting backs. So I think you'll see a different team from the Hawke's Bay that you've seen in the past. But as to exactly what that is, I guess we'll find out on Sunday afternoon. But I'm really looking forward to it. And so are the guys. It's all very well coming together and then practicing for practice's sake around pre-season games. But there's nothing like actually sinking your teeth into the regular season. And this first real game, so to speak, the boys are actually starting to get really excited about it.
Good stuff, mate. Hey, listen, do appreciate it, Dave. Thanks for your thoughts. As always, we'll look forward to checking in next week.
Oh, good. Thanks, mate.